Hello there guys, it's Michael here, and in this video I'm going to show you how you can play along to any song on guitar even if you're a total beginner. And the best news is you only need one finger to do this. Now I'm going to be introducing to you my magical movable one finger chords. And if you've ever picked up a standard guitar method book or looked at any of the beginner guitar videos on here, chances are you've been thrown in the deep end with some really tricky chord shapes. And even though they're beginner chords, they take a couple of weeks, if not months, to one, memorize the chord shapes, and two, to develop the ability to change between them smoothly. Now, this can be really frustrating, and nothing's worse than hearing someone say, hey, this is an easy version of this song, or here's some easy beginner chords, and they take weeks to get good at. So I'm actually going to give you some real beginner chords and really simplify things down. And the best news is I get 5-year-olds playing along to real songs and real music using this. And if a 5-year-old can do it, you can too. Anyway, in order to do these chord shapes, I can take two approaches. The first is you just put your finger where I tell you to do. You don't understand how things go, and we get the sound that we want, and it sounds great. And number two is I have to take a few extra minutes to explain things, but then you'll have an understanding of how the guitar works, why what we're doing works, and you'll be able to take that and apply it to every other song. So if you log on to Ultimate Guitar after this and look up tabs to anything you want, then you'll understand what's going on and how it works. So I prefer the second approach, and hopefully you will too. So bear with me for a few minutes. Now, the first magical movable chord shape we're going to be doing is the minor triad. And what happens on a guitar, if I take my first finger, and let's say I go to fret number 5, that is an A note right there. Now, if I put my finger flat across fret 5 on string 1, string 2, and string 3, and basically put my finger flat like this, where I'm pressing on all of them at the same time, making a bar shape, that is going to give me a minor chord, specifically a minor triad. Now, if you play chords on a piano, you're only playing 3 notes at a time, but with guitar, we learn these big, complex 5 and 6 string shapes only because we have 5 strings. No one ever really said, hey, why are we doing this? Piano players do it differently. We just fell into that as common usage. But if we use this shape, what's happening is we can play a chord relatively easily with a movable shape. And what I mean by movable shape, that is an A note on string 1 fret 5. If I move 2 frets higher to fret 7, that is a B note. And if I strum that same shape, fret 7 on strings 1, 2, and 3, that is giving me a B minor triad. So what basically happens is I take one shape. If I strum 3 open strings, that's an E minor triad because that's an E note. F is the note at fret 1, so by playing that shape, we have an F minor triad. By moving up to fret 3, I have a G minor triad. We already know the A minor triad at fret 5, the B minor triad at fret 7, the C minor triad at fret 8, the D minor triad at fret 10, and the E minor triad again at fret number 12. Now we can keep on going past fret 12 and those same positions repeat. And of course, if you know how the sharps and flats work, then of course you can go between each of those named notes and play either the sharp or the flat. So this is going to require an understanding of where the notes are. If you don't know where the notes are, I've got a really great video on that, which you can click wherever the pop-up pops up, and that's going to explain exactly how to memorize the fretboard. But just by taking one finger and putting it on a specific fret, you've essentially learned 12 new minor chords. E minor, F sharp or G flat minor, G minor, all the way up to fret 12. Each of those frets you can play a minor chord. So if we want to learn how to play a major chord, then all we've got to do is take that same shape and we're going to move it down to strings 2, 3, and 4. Now, my first knuckle is flat across, well, my finger is flat across the first 4 strings. I don't want to fret string number 1, but I just don't have a flexible knuckle joint. Some of you will be genetically gifted and be able to basically bar string 2, 3, and 4 and bend your knuckle back without touching string 1. I can't do that. I'm just going to fret string 1, 2, 3, and 4 at the 5th fret, but I'm only going to strum strings 2, 3, and 4. Or I could rest another finger on string 1, so if I accidentally strum it, I'm going to get the dead note sound. Or I could play it like a regular old A major chord and just move that shape around. Or I could pluck it with my fingers and just basically get those notes there. But what's going to happen is we now take a major triad shape, which again comes from the A chord. If we move that fret 2 on strings 2, 3, and 4, it's an A chord. If we do it on fret 4 on strings 2, 3, and 4, it's the B chord. If I go to fret 5, it's a C chord, and the root note of the chord, that being the note which the chord is named after and built on top of, is referencing string number 3. So if I know the notes on string 3, G is 0, A is 2, B is 4, C is 5, D is 7, E is 9, F is 10, and G is 12 again, I can take the A major chord played in the traditional way, only strumming strings 2, 3, and 4, and get G major, A major, B major, C major, D major, E major, F major, might be a bit of a squish here, G major, or again with one finger, the open string is a G major chord, the A major chord, the B major chord, the C major chord, D major, E major, F major, and G major. So with one finger, I can play 12 different minor chords, and with the same finger moved up a string, I can play 12 different major chords. So even if I don't know how to play bar chords, it's not a worry. I can play every single chord, whether it's a natural, a sharp, or a flat. I can basically skip these complex chord changes and go straight to moving one finger around. And I taught my students a Rolling Stones songs last night. It was E, Sympathy for the Devil, an E chord. So, please allow, do, 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 do. Don't want to sing too much for the copyright strike. But all I had to do was figure out, well, the chords are E, D, A, and then back to E. So I just find the E note on string number 3 at fret number 9, the D's at fret number 7, the A's at fret number 2, and then the E's back at fret number 9. And I just take my first finger and I put it flat across and go so there you go. I'm playing along to this Rolling Stones song with one finger. Is it exactly what they play on the recording? No. But is it going to be outlining the harmony and give you a rough approximation of what the song is? And if you're going to be singing over the top, are people going to be able to recognize it? Yes. And that's why we're doing it this way. If you're a beginner and you try and play things exactly like they are on the recording, chances are the person who recorded it's been playing somewhere between 5 and 10 years or longer. They're 5 to 10 years ahead of where you are, and they're playing often complex things which have been enhanced by the studio magic and editing and all the wonderful stuff they do in recording studios. You've been playing guitar for a couple of weeks, maybe a couple of months, and you're going, wow, why aren't I as good as this person? Man, Jimi Hendrix is really good and all. I've been playing for 3 weeks. Why aren't I as good as Jimi Hendrix? Or, oh man, Ed Sheeran released Shivers the other week, and I really like it. I'm going to try it. Ed Sheeran's been around for 10 years, playing countless hours per day. He is 10,000 hours ahead of you. If you've only been playing for a couple of weeks, don't get upset that you can't play along with Ed Sheeran. Actually, get really excited because you can play along using these simplified chord approaches, and I'll hopefully be doing you some more song tutorials using these chord shapes. But the whole idea is that you can now play along to basic chord progressions and chord-based songs with one finger. So that was Sympathy for the Devil by the Rolling Stones. If you're interested in a tab, comment below and I'll shoot you a tab for that. And the chorus is a B chord and an E chord. Normally you can't play a B chord without a bar, but if I know that I've got the G, the A, and the B at fret number 4, I just go, there's my B chord. I'm pleased to meet you. Won't you guess my name? Not singing the melody because I don't want to get a copyright strike. Something's puzzling you. Is it these chords? So we're able to play along to these songs, and often with the Rolling Stones, for example, they are using some of these triads and inversions some of the time. So are these easy to play? Yes, very physically easy to play. Is it a little bit tricky understanding the fretboard? Well, it's probably going to take you 5 to 10 minutes a couple of times just to run through string 1 and 3, so you know what notes you're referencing. And as I mentioned, I've got a video on that to help you out. But you can literally play along to any song. Let's just take Knocking on Heaven's Door, for example. It's a G chord, which I'll play at fret number 12, a D chord, which I'll play at fret number 7, and then the A minor chord, so I'll jump to the minor shape on strings 1, 2, and 3, back to the G chord, the D chord, and the C chord. So I'm using one finger for everything. And you can use this for literally any song. So guys, there's obviously a lot to unpack there, and the main thing is, if you want a guide for how to implement this into your playing, Step number 1 is learn the notes along string number 1 and then practice moving your one finger, barring the first 3 strings, along where the natural notes are so you know what the chords are called. Step number 2 is to do the same thing on string number 3 using the major shape and figuring out where the notes are and using them to be the root note for your major chords. Then you've just got to pick out a couple of 3 or 4 chord songs, one at a time, mind you, and then just plot out which fret I need to put my finger on and reference in time with the chord progression. And then you just strum your one finger chords. So you're still going to practice these open chords, you're still going to work on changing them, but in the meantime, because that's going to take a good couple of weeks, if not a couple of months, to get down pat and get smooth, let alone adding in a strumming pattern. But while you work on those chords, you can use these simple one finger chords essentially to play along to your favorite songs, to jam, to have fun, to show people from day one, right here, right now. The other little things that we'll point out is that troubleshooting. If you can't get the bar shape quite right, you can get your second finger and you can put it on top, and that will give you a little bit more oomph. So if I put both of my fingers down like that, I've got 2 fingers squeezing the bar. This is going to be particularly helpful if you're on an acoustic guitar or you've got really high action. That'll just give you a little bit more oomph there. The other thing is your finger will callus up, and that will get easier after a couple of weeks of practice. The second thing is you may want to do it like an A major chord where you do 3 different fingers, either like that, or you can swap some fingers around to squish them in. It doesn't matter specifically about the shape, but of course it wouldn't be the magical movable one finger chord if you're using more than 1 fingers. But the main thing is you understand the principle of using one movable shape rather than trying to change between multiple shapes. Anyway, guys, that is level 3 in my brand new level up method. If you'd like to find out more about that, keep your eye on this channel because I'll be doing a really big, deep dive into my brand new level up system, which I use here at Melbourne Guitar Academy and as part of my Guitar Ninjas curriculum. That'll be coming out. And of course, if you want to see some song tutorials where I go through specific songs using this entire level up method that I have, please comment below, and that way I'll have some ideas as to what kind of songs you guys want to see me transcribe here on this channel. Anyway, if you found this helpful, please like and subscribe, comment with any suggestions or recommendations or lessons that you want to learn about below, and I'll see you in the next video.